Damn, it's hot. Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter. I don't envy those recruits in the open sun.
That makes two of us, Marshal.
Sergeant Bronson, I thought you just started training the new batch an hour ago.
Why don't you give it a try? Most of these damn fools can't even do 5 push-ups even if their lives depended on it. Or someone just hold a damn rifle properly without even shooting their own foot.
Need a light?
You bet your ass.
Well, I suppose you should be grateful that they're still firing in the same direction.
Indeed.
So is Command really gonna send them right out of boot camp? They don't sound quite ready from what I'm hearing.
No, they're not. And I keep reporting that to Command. Only for it all to bounce off their thick skulls.
Well, if it gives you any solace, the Legion isn't exactly the smartest either, given how many of its warriors charge blindly into gunfire.
That is precisely the problem, Marshal. That level of fanaticism and lack of self-preservation is what makes them more dangerous than the average raider. Most of our troops just flee upon mere sight of the Legion, even without firing a goddamn shot. Yet Command wonders why we can't advance beyond the damn river.
Oh, I know a thing or two about asinine leadership. Well, hang in there, Sarge.
Appreciate the lighter, Marshal. I better get back before...
Oh my god, he just shot his own foot!
What the... Oh, for God's sake! Hey! What did I tell you about trigger discipline?
Yeah, they're not ready. Oh, hi there. I see you finally arrived. Welcome to Fort Deering of the New California Republic Army. This is one of the few bases within New California, where recruits from all over the Republic begin their journey from regular civvies to soldiers of what is arguably the most formidable military power west of the Rocky Mountains. But, as you just witnessed, business around here is work in progress. Hey, you gotta start somewhere. Anyways, last time we covered the Brotherhood of Steel, which certainly outclasses most factions of the Wasteland in terms of quality, no thanks to their abundant arsenal of pre-war technology. Yet, despite their technological prowess, the Brotherhood lacks severely in numbers due to their ideological rigidity, with many chapters being quite isolationist. However, for the Army of the New California Republic, it is the reverse. The NCR has tens of thousands of soldiers within its ranks, no thanks to conscription of its citizens, though there are plenty of volunteers as well. And with its continued eastward expansion, the fledgling Republic actively acquires additional manpower from newly conquered territories. Yet, it possesses very few true warriors that can withstand the wastelands, the most notable among them being the Rangers. However, a formidable army does not need every soldier to be some elite commando clad in power armor like the Brotherhood's paladins. In fact, prioritizing quality too much can also be a double-edged sword, as the loss of a single power armor has much more impact than the loss of an unassuming conscript. A formidable army simply needs to have enough soldiers that are good enough and can competently perform their given tasks. While the NCR Army certainly has many issues with both its structures and personnel, it is evidently competent enough to defeat most of its enemies and allow the Republic to be a regional power of the Wastelands. In fact, the NCR is one of the few entities of the Wastelands that resemble the world before the Great War, which is a far cry from what most Wasteland dwellers have to endure. Therefore, before you all enter this recruiting office behind me and sign your lives away, we shall first explore the brief history of the New California Republic and its famed army. There is no question that the New California Republic is one of the strongest powers in the Wastelands, with its territory stretching from the former state of Oregon all the way down south to the Baja Peninsula. Unlike many other wasteland societies, the NCR is an actual nation-state that heavily resembles the modern society of pre-war United States, possessing a functional democratic political system, enshrining basic civil rights for its citizens, wielding its own standing army to defend against external threats, and even its own currency, the NCR dollar, which quickly replaced the unstable bottle cap system common in the wastelands. However, having a rich and prosperous society doesn't mean anything if you don't have the hard power to defend it, which is why many up-and-coming societies have fallen prey to the wastelands before reaching their full potential. Therefore, the New California Republic has taken the firm action to not only defend its values and institutions, but also actively spread it throughout the wastelands, with many viewing it as a noble endeavor to restore civilization. That hard power has come in the form of the New California Republic Army. The exact origins of the NCR Army are unknown, but it's safe to assume that the Army began as a collection of volunteer militias, given the humble beginnings of Shady Sands and its partner settlements. Upon the foundation of the Republic, the various militia groups would eventually integrate together as a formal standing army, whose primary task was to defend against raiders that constantly harassed the various settlements. As the NCR experienced unprecedented growth under President Tandy, the army likewise grew both in size and importance, as it increasingly played a quintessential role in not only defending the Republic against more powerful enemies, but also acting as its instrument of foreign policy. After the death of President Tandy, the NCR would aggressively expand eastward, with its vast army securing new territories. With the NCR Army numbering in the tens of thousands, most battles were uncontested, with some belligerents surrendering without even firing a shot. What was once a mere militia of Shady Sands, the NCR Army now stood as the largest military force of the wastelands. Like the rest of the NCR's institutions, the Army is likewise modeled after the pre-war United States military, utilizing the same organizational structure and hierarchy. While most armed forces of the wasteland still fight with rusty weapons and makeshift gear, the NCR Army possesses entire divisions of well-armed infantry, mechanized forces, elite units like the Rangers, and even a small air force. Even the soldiers themselves possess standardized equipment, which is a luxury most wastelanders cannot afford. This is thanks to the NCR's strong industrial base, which allows its army to be well supplied and wage protracted military campaigns that would exhaust most armies. You know the saying, amateurs talk tactics, while professionals study logistics. Therefore, the NCR Army is one of the few truly modern armies of the wastelands. However, that is not to say that the NCR Army is without faults. In fact, the same logistical strength of the NCR has been put under severe strain from all the costly military campaigns of the East, most notable among them being the Mojave campaign, which shows no signs of progress. Additionally, the overwhelming high casualties has forced the government to increasingly rely on conscription to alleviate manpower shortages, often resulting in unmotivated recruits being given minimal training before being rushed into combat. The results speak for themselves. All in all, the overextension from these military campaigns have seriously put the NCR's strength to the test, with many questioning if the Republic can survive into the future. For many conscripts, no matter how secure and comfortable life may be within their country, many wonder if it's even worth dying for. And that is where our next story begins, as we observe a young farmer named Roland, who recently received a letter from the NCR's federal government. Born and raised on a family farm of Northern California, Roland's life couldn't be more peaceful. With 2 loving parents, plenty of food on the table, and his entire life set out for him, Roland never had much ambitions in life. In his small town, once a farmer, always a farmer. But all that changed in that fateful day when a letter arrived in the family's mailbox, which contained draft papers, ordering Roland to report to the nearest army recruiting station. Lest he wishes to get locked up for draft evasion, Roland has no choice but to go, much to his family's dismay. Deep down, however, Roland knew this day would come. He's heard of the recent developments out east, such as the army battling strange yet bloodthirsty warriors, referred to as the Caesar's Legion. And the increasing grain quotas from the government in Shady Sands also implied the desperation of the situation in the front lines, contrary to the official press's claims of overwhelming victory. Nevertheless, Roland decides to fulfill his duty as a citizen. He does not wish to dishonor his family by draft dodging, which will undoubtedly hurt them more than himself. Though his parents are rightfully apprehensive, Roland assures them it will all pass by quickly. Besides, from what he's heard, conscripts only serve for a year before separating, and there's no guarantee he will be sent to the front lines. He may as well serve on reserve duty, handling logistics and other non-combat duties. And if he ever does get sent to the front lines, Roland is certainly no pushover either, as he knows how to handle firearms and regularly fends off mutant pests around the farm. Be that as it may, Roland is prepared for what's to come. He packs his bags and says goodbye to his parents before finally leaving the family farm, which he will not see for another year. Once he hops on the tram and waiting, Roland's new journey begins. It can't be that bad, right? Upon arriving in Camp Deering of Southern California, Roland's face is blasted with a heat wave once the bus doors open. As he enters the station, he and all the recruits are quickly met with lots of shouting and running around, with different drill sergeants all barking commands at him, with some commands being contradictory to one another. One recruit already breaks down crying. Another recruit mumbles incomprehensible jargon, while the recruit right next to Roland is missing his pants for whatever reason. No one, has any idea what they're doing. Suffice it to say, things are an absolute mess around here. After a quick buzz cut and change to his new khaki uniforms, Roland and his unit are immediately pushed into the obstacle course. The drill sergeants don't even bother to ask the names of any of the recruits, wishing to push everyone quickly through the training pipeline to beat their quotas. Everything moves non-stop, and any recruits who lag behind are left behind. Fortunately for Roland, the obstacle course is quite a breeze thanks to his country life, while some recruits have already gotten themselves injured severely, though the drill sergeants are suspicious due to many who have tried to fake their injuries so as to attempt to escape service entirely. Meanwhile, Roland excels during the firearms course at the range, earning the attention of the drill sergeant in charge. After the firearms course, the drill sergeant walks up to Roland and actually asks for his name. Upon answering him, the drill sergeant jots down his name on a notepad. Before Roland realizes, 2 weeks have already zipped by, thus concluding boot camp. For Roland, it felt more like an incoherent crash course of random tasks, with the instructors hastily compressing everything within such a short time frame. It's clear they didn't even bother to check whether the recruits actually learned anything at all. Regardless, there are no ceremonies or any congratulatory events at the end. Instead, Roland, now with the rank of private, is immediately given his new gear and service rifle, only for him to get pushed out of the recruiting station and dragged away by his new commanding officer. And that is where we will end the story of Roland, as he is finally shipped off to his first assignment in the Wastelands. Will Roland be sent to the front lines of the Mojave and become cannon fodder like most of the conscripts? Or will the higher-ups see potential in this young country boy and place him elsewhere? Perhaps a certain famed group in the desert may be looking for new members. In a large and complex organization that is the New California Republic Army, the possibilities are endless. That said, most within the Army will not be able to realize these possibilities. The unfortunate truth is that most recruits straight out of boot camp will serve as nothing more than cannon fodder. Many will perish in the front lines before they even get the chance to get promoted to the next rank. This is especially exacerbated from all the recent military campaigns, which has prompted the desperate military leadership to expedite the training, resulting in troops of questionable quality, which in turn continues to fuel the high casualty rates. Therefore, while the NCR Army is still undoubtedly the most powerful force west of the Colorado River, it remains to be seen how much longer it can sustain its strength under these conditions. However, every now and then, a few yet exceptional individuals will overcome the trials of combat and prove themselves to be of greater use. These few yet exceptional individuals have the capacity to make a substantial difference not just in battle, but the entire war effort of the NCR. Some even argue that the fate of the whole NCR lies in their hands. So will Roland prove himself to be one of these exceptional individuals? Find out next time. And if you think you can prove yourself as well, feel free to talk to Sergeant Bronson in the recruiting station and sign your life away in the name of democracy, liberty, and the rule of law. For the Republic! Thank you to my patrons on Patreon for supporting this channel. My $5 patrons are Kapitan Sladek, Kidzap, Chocoburb, and Dravenraven. My $2 patrons are Komida the Prep Cook Demon. If you would like to appear at the end credits of my videos, as well as have early access and exclusive content on Patreon, feel free to hop on over to patreon.com/LTELawrence and give a pledge. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching. Until next time, this is T. Lawrence of the Arcadia, signing out.